Hello, everyone. Dr. Brian Scott with you. I trust you're enjoying these Insight to the End Times. These podcasts are taking some other scriptures outside of the normal realm of prophetic scriptures, but we're taking these scriptures because they share insights and they share truths and principles that are very important to us as we approach the end of the age and as we get our acts together to do everything that God called us to do as believers. Amen. Today, I want to share with you about how quickly knowledge is increasing, because it's one of the things prophesied in the book of Daniel that we would see knowledge increasing in these last days. One of my dear fathers in the faith and one of my dear friends over the many years was Dr. Hilton Sutton, probably the foremost authority in my mind of end-time prophetic scriptures in the book of Revelation. Just had a tremendous insight to all of these areas. And I remember him saying to me over and over, when you see knowledge increasing, you know we're in the very last of the last days. And we're seeing knowledge increasing like we've never seen before. In fact, I want to say it this way. Knowledge is exponentially increasing. Exponentially increasing. That means 10 plus 10 is 20, but 10 squared is 100. Amen? And 100 plus 100 is 200, but 100 squared is 10,000. That's exponential explosion. Amen. Excuse me. I practiced law for many years, going back into the 1980s and 1990s, and we were actually practicing before computers were a mainstay. I remember our first computer, and it had 64 megabytes of RAM, and we thought we were the cat's meow, like we were on top of cloud 9 because we had so much ability with this Commodore 64 computer with 64 megabytes of RAM. Well, you know, today we have more power in our cell phone, our smartphones, than most computers that took John Glenn to the moon, and some of the other, or I should say John Glenn into orbit. I think it was Neil Armstrong who went to the moon. But the fastest computers that we have today are known as supercomputers, but they're going to be replaced in the near future. In fact, some are already being replaced by what are called quantum computers. And quantum computers are so much faster than the supercomputers, it's beyond comprehension. Now, I remember from reading several years ago that scientists took the most complex mathematical problem that they could create. They knew that it would take supercomputers about 10,000 years to fix or solve that mathematical problem, and they submitted it to a quantum computer. And that quantum computer solved it in 3 seconds, or maybe it was 3 minutes. Does it really matter? It's so supernatural fast that we can't even believe what's going on. I came across another set of research papers the other day, and it's talking about the human protein in our bodies. And they're determined by an amino acid sequence. In the first 50 years of research in this area by worldwide labs, scientists had only managed to identify 100,000 protein sequences. But there are 200 million protein sequences in our body. So 100,000 out of 200 million is just scratching the surface. Along comes one of Google's AI, artificial intelligence systems. It's called AlphaFold. And it terms it this way: it can fold the average length protein in seconds, which allows it, and did allow it, to perform the procedure on all 200 million proteins in 1 year. Now, it took 50 years to do the first 100,000. It took 1 year to do everything up to 200 million. That's called exponential growth. Here's another fact I came across. Elon Musk, you might know that name, Tesla fame. His cars run on a lot of software. He has a $1 billion supercomputer, which they assigned it, I don't know how this works really, but they assigned it to reprogram Tesla's full self-driving software. This is a major, major development. It rewrote the entire code for the full service driving software. There is not one bit of human code in that new program. Now, the engineers have been working on the FSD, the full service driving code, for 8 years, and their new supercomputer did the work in just a couple of months. The point I'm getting at is artificial intelligence is changing our lives, some good, some bad, but it's changing so exponentially, so quickly, so fast. This is a week of talking about time being accelerated, knowledge being expanded, everything following patterns that are beyond anything the Bible is really referring to. Yet at the same time, the Bible forecasted it because it said knowledge would be increasing. So we're going into realms that we've never known before. Let me give you one more before we run out of time. And this is speaking about electronic or electric vehicles, EVs. And I want to look at the development of the self-autonomous driving EV, or the autonomous, like the person doesn't have to drive it, it drives itself. There are 6 levels that they have formulated in terms of this automation. The first level, they call it level 0. That's where we're fully in control of the car. Level 1 is where we use cruise control to monitor our speed. Level 2 is partial automation, where we have an advanced driver assistance program that deals with acceleration and steering. I have that program on my SUV. It tells me when I'm changing lanes. It slows me down when I get too close to a car ahead of me. And so it deals with my steering, it deals with my acceleration. Then the next level is called conditional automation. And it controls most tasks, but needs a little bit of human oversight. Level number 4 is the highest automation, and that means all tasks are governed within given restricted areas. And then the last level, level 5, which is full automation, is we might as well stay home. The car will drive itself no matter what. Now, our cars today are driving mostly at this second level, the one I referred to, where I have speed control, I have cruise control, I have steering looked after, acceleration dealt with, and so on. But they are already at the highest level in testing programs where a human being stays home. They're calling the first fleet of these robo-taxis. And these robo-taxis are already being tested in Arizona. And in fact, these robo-taxis have 20 million miles of real driving experience that they have now programmed into the software. These robo-taxis will operate at the 4th or 5th level, the highest 2 levels. And San Francisco, for instance, they have already ordered 600 robo-taxis. They're going to change the way driving is conducted. In fact, we're going to be out of a job driving a vehicle. It's going to be such a drastic change. It's going to really, really be a great concern to us. And I'm sure of it. I've heard one person say, I don't like this at all, and I'm not going to submit to it. Well, who knows? The way they're pushing for electric vehicles, we may not have a choice come 7 or 8 years from now. But here's my point. We're losing control. We will not control our own driving patterns. We're not controlling things in our homes. We're not controlling our phones. You know, they can come along and change our phones automatically. They can shut them down. They can turn them off. They can reprogram our house, our lighting, our temperature control, and so on, because they have access through all this software that we know nothing about, through all this artificial intelligence. Now, one of the greatest signs of the end is the Antichrist. And one of his, probably his greatest mandate is, I want to control the entire world, and I want to control everybody in it. And what I just shared with you about this knowledge increasing so exponentially, it just speaks of massive control being handed over to someone that we don't want to hand it over to. Are you ready for Jesus? Amen.